First thing we'll establish, now if we look at the setup on the right hand side, narrower stance, weight favouring that left side, you kind of look as though you're playing a short shot. This one here looks like you want to try and hit a big drive, a big wide stance. And the other thing with that club, look at that club face, how it's turned in comparison to that. I mean, that's the biggest change for me. The other thing as well is your club shaft now is more vertical, where this one is sort of leaning forward, so you're de-lofting it even more so. Now what happens when that club goes back, as you take it back, you actually turn it away, so it's going even more kind of de-lofted as you go back. So as your club's going back now, I mean, you've probably got about almost negative loft on that. So it's so turned down and face down. The best thing you're going to hope for now is just a good contact. It's going to go low to the left. And then what you did with the second shot, when your first one, as you said, when I sort of asked, okay, let's analyse that shot, you went, it was a good contact, it went left, it went a long way. You then moved your feet to aim further to the right to compensate. And as we said with that daft question, it may sound, what hits the golf ball, the club head or your feet? And we know now, as obviously everyone does know, it's the club head. Changing your feet's not going to change the direction. All it does is change where the club bottoms out, as it did in the second shot, and then we hit the ground with the golf ball. Okay, and then you've got a multitude of faults, and you're changing something else now to try and compensate for the feet and the club, and then you get sort of stuck in a bit of a mess because you're trying to do all these different things while at the same time you're trying to judge distance. When it's a full swing and you can give it a good smack, it's just 100%, give it all you've got and stuff. There's no real thought about judging. When you've got those sort of 50 yards, 60 yards, there's got to be some element of control and judging of distance, because if you get it wrong, it goes too far or too short. When you're looking to go 100%, you just give it a smack and off it goes. There's no real worry about the distance so much, okay? So getting the club face now in a much more square position there, because you've got much more loft of the golf club. What you've got to focus on now is by how far back you want to go. So if you go back that far, in this case, it was going about 50 to 60 yards with that 50 or that number 10 or pitching wedge. So if you want to go less distance, you simply swing the golf club back to there. You just create less power by going back. So the golf swing, as we said, kind of creates a circle. Wherever on that circle your club stops, kind of indicates some different yardages. So if we sort of put some lines here now.
Should, when you go back, should you go forward about the same amount as you go back?
Yeah, as a rough ideal. I mean, as long as we're accelerating through, that's the key thing, okay? I wouldn't sort of try to be too there and sort of too precise. As long as there's a sort of distinct acceleration through the golf ball, the club will kind of continue on round. It might go a little bit further for longer shots, okay? It might be a little bit shorter here for some short chip shots. But as long as there's an acceleration, don't try to sort of piece to piece. It's more of a feel on the way back, and then just a boom, hit the golf ball with in some ways the fullest acceleration you can possibly make. Because if you swing the golf club to that first red line and just accelerate from there, it'd go about 10 yards, I would say, 10, 15 yards. There would be 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50 yards, 60 yards. So kind of like a sort of speedometer, I suppose, going around that way. However far that club goes back on that circle creates the distance. So rather than try and sort of judge it on the way down, you go, okay, right, I'm going to swing it this far back and hit it as hard as I can, within reason, again, I'm trying to lose balance, okay? And it's kind of the same way if I said throw a ball. If I said throw a ball from perhaps here to that basket, you just sort of go that way. If I said throw it to that red cone, you'd have a longer swing. But then if I said, okay, and I throw it back to the basket with the same length swing as that one, you'd be, oh, hang on, you're trying to sort of stop and there'd be no control. So you always try to create the amount of distance you want to hit it, and then hit it fuller. And hit it full rather than full, rather than just swing it back to a position and try and judge or guess on the way down. Because as you're coming down to the golf ball, you've got more things to worry about in terms of striking the golf ball and other things, rather than trying to judge a distance. But it's a key thing to set up. Narrower stance, as we said, get the feet a little bit closer together.
Straight club.
Nice and relaxed with the club face sitting down straight. Your grips on your club. If I brought that club 2 seconds, I'd imagine if they're clean. The writing on the grip needs to be pretty much on top. If that is square on top, that writing is there. If the writing you start seeing going round to the left here, the club face is turning to the left there. And if you start with it left and then we take it back further doing this, as you sometimes do, it's only going to go one way, Tricia. And I say the club head is what dictates where the ball's going to go, not your feet. I could stand with my feet 45 degrees right of target and yet hit the ball left of target, and vice versa. So don't always look at your feet position when the ball goes left or right. Look at what the club's doing. That's what's hitting the golf ball after all. Your feet haven't touched the golf ball, if they so in some ways they're not going to be as important. I'm not saying for 1 second forget the feet, but your first checkpoint needs to be The club head. Get the club head correct. If she's square, okay, I could have just aimed straight left, hit a straight shot, straight left, then we can look at other elements. But the number one thing to look at is the club head. Okay?
That's important.
Does that kind of make sense then, yeah?
It does make sense.
Good stuff.